Hello, everybody. This is Frogman, and welcome back to Compact Claustrophobia. Last several episodes, we've been doing nothing but try to get a compact cube over there in that corner stuffed up and running with a fusion reactor, to the point we actually had to kind of redesign a few other things and build a large compact machine that has a reasonably large, decent amount of power producing fission reactor. He's not the greatest in the world. It just did what it needed to do. So we're okay now. Everything's good. This thing's off. I actually kind of figured out a way of automating this, and I don't know whether this is a bug or not. I had to cheat that thing in. I'm going to straight up tell you I had to cheat that in, and the reason why I had to cheat that in is the machine casing. Machine casings are not available here, but you give me the redstone capability of the conduits as well as the actual power thing. It's in the, where is it? Ender IO. It's in the pack. It's actually in the pack right here, the power monitor, but you can't craft it because you can't craft one of these, because you can't craft one of, you can craft one of these, but you can't craft the, where is it? I can't craft one of these because I can't craft this stuff. So you can't get the organic dye. Now, whether or not this is intentional or not, I cheated that in because I kind of wanted to be able to control this thing. So I did what I needed to do to make that work. So it's basically automated somewhat. It's just reading what's on this. It's setting a little bitty number. It says when this thing is less than 50% full, turn it on. Turn this reactor on. When it is equal to 95% full, shut it off. So that's all we're doing with that. We used that little process to get this guy up and running, and I learned, and I'm kind of like I said, I kind of want to explain a little bit. Try not to sneeze while I'm at it. I kind of want to explain a little bit what I did learn and what I remembered. I don't use these very often. These are one of those kinds of things that they're really great. They're a fun toy. Nuclear Craft is a kind of a fun mod for those of you that like in-depth mods, like Nuclear Craft, like the things that you can do with it. The puzzle that is these things. The puzzle that is these things right here. You're trying to get one of these to be as efficient as you possibly can, yet stay as cool as you possibly can, yet make as much power as you can possibly manage it to make. It's a fun puzzle. Or I can just use extreme reactors. Okay, same kind of puzzle, but I already know that puzzle. These puzzles, I built this one specifically because of the way that I wanted it to run. If I ever think I ever need any of this depleted fuel, I want this stuff to come out of that thing as fast as possible, to the point that I will tear this thing down and make a couple of little bitty reactors that don't make very much power at all and just burn fuel as fast as they possibly can. So I don't really care about that kind of little system over there. That's going to be our backup power, and that's there in case this thing dies. This thing should remain reasonably stable. So we're currently hanging out about 44,000 RF a tick. We're currently sitting around 99.7%. I've been kind of fiddling with it, turning it on and off and messing around with it. This last however many percent is going to be based on the fact that we still have about, I don't know, maybe another 4,000, maybe another 1,000 RF a tick for it before it's finally up and running completely. We have to get our temperature changed. That number has to reach 0. The temperature change on the bottom has to reach 0 before the power stops climbing, before the production stops climbing and the temperature stops climbing. So once that hits 0, then this thing will settle out and be done. So it's currently kind of just sitting here happily running along. I did go ahead and remove this this cube. Ouch. I need to quit hitting the walls. Remove this cube from the RS system outside and attached its own controller so that it can manage all of this stuff in here. And we're not using a whole lot of power to make this work. So I'm kind of going to just leave this thing like this. I want it to kind of produce what it's producing. I want it to produce deuterium. I want to take the extra long path to make this guy do what I need it to do, because in the end we're going to need a crap ton of power to power the thing that's going to get us out of these cubes. My end goal be all thing kind of deal, guys, is I'm not living in these cubes. Once we get to the end of that point where we can actually craft that pickaxe, we're going to build a base in the overworld. We're going to have fun. I hate living in cramped environments, and I hate doing this. I'm going to have a nice little decent, reasonably probably small shack where I'm going to stack all these things. I'm going to go outside and I'm going to enjoy the birds. I don't mind the fact that we have this. The reason why I'm kind of pushing towards getting to that thing is because of this. And the reason why we're going to run 2 of them. High impact. Can I spell? Thank you. The reason why we're going to run 2 of them is it takes 5 million FE a tick, RF a tick, or 100,000 RF a tick, total of 5 million to make 1 bedrock. For that matter, it takes 10,000 RF a tick for 500,000 RF to make 1 diamond. So when and if we ever do get to the point where we need to be doing that process, we can do that. This is kind of the reason why I want to be able to make something. Yes, I understand. We have the capacitors. We have the ability. I want to be producing 40 or 50,000 RF a tick with these things. When we get to the point where we can actually cram one of these in a maximum size or actually build it outside on the ground, we're going to build the biggest one of these we can possibly build it, and then we'll run it on the best fuel we can put in it. So for right now, we're going to run 2 of them, mainly because of the fact this dude's running off water. It's running off water and a couple of electrolyzers. How simple is that? How easy is that? I don't have to isotopically separate some other form of fuel from either lithium or boron or something else and then melt it down and run it into this thing. So I'm using water right now because this is easier. It's also more stable because of the fact that I won't run out of water. It's just going to sit there. So let's see. With that all said and done, and me just getting a coughing hacking fit over, it's kind of dry today. Love dry days. We can kind of move on from that. It's been a long project, and there are some other things that we need to kind of concentrate on. I had a lot of fun with this cube, this little project that's in here, and we're gonna have to do a little bit of messing around with this anyway. That little bitty cube right there, the one in the middle amongst all of that stuff, is going to be very, very important for later on process. So I'm going to kind of just leave this one sit here in the corner, and what I may end up doing actually is pulling that one cube out and making it self-sustaining in this one so that we can kind of produce what's in there, because there are some quests that we need, because we need some of the not so much information, but there's a couple of things we need. The poop we need for the pressure poop injector so we can make the next set of those, and the poop we need for a challenge quest at the end of the pack. So kind of just going to hang on to it for right now. Let us do the next fun part, which is going to be, I don't want to create a party, I want to hit quests. I've looked at this section in here, and I've looked at a few of these things, and I know that this line over here exists, and I know that this stuff is all over here, and I know that we can be doing this, and I'm just not really interested in doing it right now. I don't need the arc furnace. We're going to build the arc furnace when we need the arc furnace. There's nothing we need right now because of the fact that we kind of cheese the diamond production and the coal production. I don't need the arc furnace right now. I don't need... Come on, you. I don't need diborine oxide, cubic boron diborine. Where am I getting diborine? Cubic boron nitrate. I know this process. I don't need it right now. We can definitely look into doing that because of the fact that that will get us dash. I believe that gets us dash, and that will also get us the ability to be able to make some of the other stuff. Diamonds a little bit easier. Problem is we're making diamonds already. The reason why we'll probably be doing the precious gems is because of that augment right there, which we'll eventually be using to spawn mobs. So I'm going to be, or excuse me, eventually be using to process spawned mobs. So we're going to go down that line and eventually deal with that. I just want to kind of mention that some of this stuff that I may or may not be skipping over, we're going to eventually need to do things. So with all of this done now, we have all of this done. We made the Tome of Knowledge a while back. Wait, no, come on. Let me have this back, please. We made the, Glacial Precipitator and Snowballs a while back. We have the, Neutron Irradiator and the Fluid Transposer are 2 of the next things that we need to be looking at. So let's look at making a Neutron Irradiator. If I can spell. Neutron Irradiator, go click A. Thank you very much. Neutron Irradiator is going to require a bunch of advanced plating, an unfamiliar item, machine chassis, servo mechanism, and a couple of copper solenoids, which I can just do that. I think we need to do advanced platings. Yes, we do. Start, go. And did I do a servo mechanism? I did. Good. Make me one of those, please. And look over here. Processing 2. Why are you processing 2? Click, 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 back. Thank you. All right. I need you. Done? No, we're still waiting on some plates. Did I only tell it to make one plate? Come on now. Yeah, I probably did, didn't I? Go ahead. We'll make the rest of them. So this is going to be the process for producing, or what we're going to use the machine for to produce, what is it? Energized glowstone? Energized glowstone, which is this stuff, which we can then use to, basically inject into cryothium dust that we're going to be able to make glowstone dust with. So it's kind of one of these ouch process because of this ouch process because of this ouch process because of this ouch process because of, come on, click on the right one, that process right there. So let's see if we can't get this done. There's the other three, so good deal. There is the machine we need to do that. And it's just going to be doing these things. Can I show recipes this way? This is one of the ways that you can get better fuels for your reactor, where you can take tritium and helium gas, or I should say you can take the molten boron, molten lithium, and add some of that neutron fluid into it and get tritium, and helium, and feed that back into one of those reactors. Or, as we can see in here, this is how we're going to get the glowstone and molten potassium hydroxide, which I don't know what I'm supposed to do with. But we'll cross that line when we get there. The other thing I think it wants is one of those. Thank you. All right. Cool. So that got all of those down into here. That allows us to do the hot stuff, which is the energized glowstone bucket, which we have to build another reactor for, which I believe, if I haven't said already, I will be crafting another one of those off camera and getting it lit because of just the sheer amount of time that took. Hopefully by next episode, we will have that dude up and running so that we're making all of the parts that we need at least to be able to make the glowstone stuff. The other thing that I think we're going to be doing is, let's get back into here, is this line down here. This is something we can kind of start working on, and this is going to lead me to a little bit of one of those things that is aggravating me about this mod pack. There are some things that just really are kind of irritating me, and I understand it's because of the way the progression is built, and I understand it's the way the mod pack author wanted us to play the pack. And I also have to kind of say that I tend to just play packs however the heck I feel like playing them. I don't really care about whether or not there's a quest book unless I get lost. And I want to say thank you to the wonderful gentleman that pointed out where I was kind of missing a few things. And I'm going to explain why I kind of am missing a few things. As you notice, I've got something marked up here. We're going to talk about this next section by letting me introduce you how we make bliss powder. If you can kind of already see, can I do that from here? Yes, I can. The initial way we need to make bliss powder is by taking a fluid transposer and filling 2 snowballs with 200 millibuckets of liquid XP or 200 millibuckets of essence of knowledge. Okay, great, wonderful. The pack, they even showed us that we need to be doing something in here, but notice, it's a tome of knowledge. Well, yeah, I know how to use a tome of knowledge. Everybody knows how to use a tome of knowledge. And in a mod pack like this, where there is no mob murdering or killing or things, this is kind of a very necessary thing. The biggest problem that I have thus far, though, is that there's a thing, supposedly, a way, that we should also be able to, in this system, they say, well, reconstructing with flux. This is an augment where, you can use an energetic infuser along with the, whatever that augment is called. Let's see, augment. This dude right here, the flux reconstruction allows for damaged items to be repaired while no longer recharged items. Essence of knowledge must be supplied. But there's no obvious way of looking through JEI of crafting essence of knowledge. There isn't. There's none, period. Now, this is one of those things where I kind of look at it and I go, I've spent hours and hours and hours staring at JEI, doing both essence of knowledge, how do I make, who the hell knows, and I don't even think liquid XP works. Let me see here real quick. Let's do this the other way. Blizz powder. Blizz powder is constructed as such in a fluid transposer, liquid XP, How do I make? How do I make? So again, thank you very much for pointing this out to me, because this is something that I did not know existed. It's not something I go looking for, so I didn't know it was there. It's this item, an item allocator. Why in the world is that in there? I thought I already made the right choice on this. Let's go to the right direction. Thermal. Thermal, fluid allocator. It looks like the fluid allocator. It's that thing. Let's make sure we click over here and then get that bookmark so we can find it. The insightful condenser. And you go, okay, well, it's an insightful condenser. What does it do? It says, well, it collects experience in an area. Okay. The one thing you can't read in this little tooltip that's blatantly obvious once you put this thing down is that you can use a catalyst inside this to affect the amount of XP that it will collect in an area, to double or triple. I don't know exactly the amount. And even in the machine, it doesn't tell you what catalyst you can use, but I know what it is. I Googled it. I looked it up. In my own defense, I did not know that thing existed, because of the simple fact that I almost always use some other form or some other mod to collect experience in an area. I've spent many years on servers, and experience is one of those things that needs to be collected as instantly as possible, lest it not create any more unnecessary lag. And this thing does not collect experience very quickly. So I'm going to kind of go on a little bit short rant here. Again, it's not the greatest thing in the world, but it does one thing that I did not know it existed, which is, like I said, it can double, or at least kind of somewhat double, the amount of XP you get from a dropped XP orb. Well, as soon as I read that, I was like, oh, you want me to do this. That's what you want me to do. And then you want me to throw that. As soon as somebody said that, I was like, what, oh, God, why? Why? It's fine. It's fine. It's personally fine. Never mind my little whiny rants. I've had a long work week, and it's driven me a little nuts. But why? There are so many cooler ways to produce experience, to the point that I was actually kind of going to do experience. Was, something entirely silly. It requires 250 millibuckets to make a bottle of enchanting. And 250 millibuckets of Essence of Knowledge, or Liquid XP, when given and fed picked back up by an insightful condenser, will always give us a little bit more, probably 100. The number is going to be, it says 100%. I have no idea what 100% means, but it's going to give us 100% more. So if that's the case, that's a half a bucket of liquid experience or Essence of Knowledge per bottle. Now, I don't think it's exactly that, because I sat there in a corner and tested this in a test world for a half an hour and waited on it to slowly produce liquid essence. For those of you that are kind of going, well, I still don't quite grasp this concept, it's kind of an EMC. If those of you that have played with EMC before, especially with industrial craft and blaze rods, know where this is going. We're going to use a kind of a duping method where we're going to add a slight amount of energy. We're going to use energy and two types of other things to increase another. Meaning we're going to use glass bottles and we're going to use lapis lazuli to increase the amount of Essence of Knowledge that we have with a cycling, looping, duping process, basically. Am I cool with this? If I'd have found it a couple of months ago, sure. A month or so ago, or whenever it would have been fine now. I'm looking at it now going, there's got to be a better way of doing this. But it's okay, because what we're going to do right now, and I know I've kind of prattled and rattled on, is we're going to build that process. And I will fully admit that I actually had to go YouTube this and Google it to find it, because I didn't know what it did. I had no clue what it was about. So let's go ahead and make us a new Tome of Knowledge. Let's go make us a book. I thought I had book already made. Book. Nice book. And Tome of Knowledge. And the reason why we're doing this episode is because I really need to get this rolling. I really need to get this process finished, done, and out of my life. This mod pack is really starting to grate on me with the amount of little just random things that I have to do to get certain things to function. So we'll grab that. The other thing we're going to need is an auto clicker, which I think I can craft, hopefully. Yes, excellent. Ooh, I'm going to have to make a bunch more of this stuff. Can I make any of that? No, I'm going to have to go figure that one out. We're going to have to make a bunch of that stuff eventually. We need an auto clicker. We need this guy. We're just going to go ahead and grab that fluid transposer. I need to jump back over into this cube here. And for the time being, we're going to use that reinforced tank as the storage. And I think you, and you, plus the experience that we already have. I need a crafting card. Start. I need a bottle recipe. I need to put that over here. And, well, that crafting card is crafting. Let's use... That one's empty. We're going to put it in its own little cube right now. And the reason I'm going to put it in its own little cube right now is because if this thing screws up, it's going to get really, really, really stinking laggy in that cube because of all the XP orbs that hang out in there. Let's see here. Crafting card. I have a crafting card, and I should, in my backpack, have at least 2 exporters. Thank you very much. We're going to need some of this. We're going to need some of this. And I'm going to do that. Do I have any form of just... I don't have any comparators. Do I have a way to... I'll have to fiddle with that later. I'm not going to worry about it so much right now. I just want to make sure that we don't really screw things up. So, alrighty then. So, what I want to do is I want to make sure that we're going to be able to throw things correctly and still have room enough to do a couple of things. I want to be able to shut off the actual action of this going. So let's go ahead and move it over 1 block. And you're going to be set to right click. That's perfectly fine. I want the transposer right there. Do I have... I knew I wasn't quite done. I need to actually change this because I don't have the ability to do what I want to do with the other stuff. Personal shrinking device, servo, duct, and filter. Do we have any filters? Filters. Give me that filter. I think I can do it with that one. Yes, that'll work. Excellent. I probably already have some on me, don't I? Yep, look at that. Nice. Okay. Alrighty then, cool. So what I want to do here is I'm going to do something a little bit differently than at least in my test world areas. So we're going to drop this insightful condenser down right here, and we're going to make sure that he's going to output out the back. I'm going to grab the tank, and I'm going to put the tank down right there. I'm going to use this pressurized fluid conduit just because I have it. It's going to be set to extract, always active, and insert, always insert. You're going to take in XP from this side, and you're going to exhaust that out that point. Now, item duct, filter servo, 1. That'll work. And then we're going to grab a servo, and eventually what we're going to do is we're going to use that servo to control the amount of XP that is going to go into the actual system, so that we can actually shut this thing off and don't blast this room full of experience. These things don't have redstone control. At least as far as I know, they don't have redstone control. I've tried. Let's see if it actually does. I needed to go make a bunch of glass bottles. Go ahead, just craft that many. Thank you. And go back over here. Cool. Will you... Need something to throw. Hey, can you just... whatever. We'll play with that in a little bit. Like I said, I've tried a couple of times to try to get these things to respond to redstone signal, and they don't. So whether or not they do or not is not going to be our problem at this point. What I want to do now is, because I want to restrict the amount of essence that's going into that thing, it may slow the system down a little bit, but that's perfectly fine. Now, we need to set up the inputs on these guys. We're going to input on the top. We're going to input on the top, and then we're going to bring some power in. I got to quit hitting the wall. We're going to put the power right there. And I need a tunnel. Tunnel. There's a tunnel. And this needs to find the power. Now we're going to power this thing. We're going to actually power it. We're going to use it because I want it to be running at a reasonably decent tick. I don't want it to be doing it every 100 ticks. I think 25 or 15 might be usable because this is going to really, really crank out stuff once it actually gets things going. So, and I screwed that up. Give me this. Click, click. And you need to be to this spot, the cable. Let's go outside. I need a little bit of lapis, and I need to break that cable. I've been having problems with it lately. It's wanting me to reset certain things once I add a new tunnel in or a new system. So, okay, so this guy, he's going to get lapis, and he's going to fill that up with lapis. The augmentation, and the reason why I say this is so one of those convoluted things that drives me up the wall, because there's no mention of it anywhere aside from being actually looking in the machine. Scroll down. Certain catalysts will boost production. Why is this not being used at all? Why are we not using this in normal everyday modded? Why am I not using this on a regular old, kitchen sink mod pack? Why? Why have I never heard of this? Because of the fact that it can double, or whatever it is, add more experience per thing. Because we're usually more caring about the experience after a certain point than we are about the mob drops. So I don't know why that is a thing. Why that, I don't know that. We're going to toss a crafting upgrade in this, and we're going to put some glass bottles in there, and I'm going to toss those glass bottles in there. Now, this is going to immediately start filling that thing up full of here. What I want to do is do this and do that. And we're going to start this process off with all of that essence of knowledge that I have been collecting. Click. And back in the corner. Reach it. 3. Now, this is going to cause that to be a little slow. I understand this. I grasp that concept. This is going to be a little slow. I want to have that in there so that I can shut that thing off. Now, the interesting thing is we put quite a bit of stuff in here. It's going to fill all of these bottles up, and it's slowly going to cycle them through that thing over there, and it's going to be really loud and annoying. But eventually, this cycle will back up. It's going to take a little while. It's probably going to take at least until, the middle of next episode to start keeping stuff in this tank, but will eventually start backing up. And it's kind of hard to watch it. Oh, crap. I got it that time. No. Thank you. Go in there. It's kind of a loud, annoying noise. But it will slowly, over time, get better. To the point that I might actually do that. And that's all it's going to do is sit in here and throw those bottles at the wall. This little thing right here is going to pick it up, and it's going to use a catalyst, a lapis lazuli, to be able to actually double or triple or whatever it's doing, make a little bit more XP, and eventually create us a backlog in that tank, which we will then be able to pull out of the system and make better. Do we have... I need to actually... Let me do this while we're thinking about it. Don't do it. Give me a bucket of that stuff. One more. I don't know, just whatever. We'll get there. Dang it, I didn't want out. Let's go do this really quickly. I know I have one in my inventory. I'm just trying to stay over here so I don't pick it up. Another external storage. We'll put it on that guy right there. He will be allowed to extract only fluids and that. Okay, now you can extract. And eventually, sometime, that tank will start filling up. because we're using a thing, again, that I had no idea that existed in this pack. So, awesome. Something that, again, now that I know that it exists, will probably get utilized in further on mod packs. And it's something that somebody should be shouting that little function of that little thing to the top of the rooftops, to the top of the walls, to the whatever the heck that is, that should be known about. And for those of you that know about it, you should have said something to several other people so that we all knew about it. Especially us old guys that have been playing with thermal forever and can remember back when thermal was a single mod. So, anyhow, we got our external storage going. We have the glass bottles working. I'm going to have to pay attention to my lapis lazuli. But we're going to be able to see that stuff come in and out of here as it goes, and eventually that number is going to start creeping up until it gets to a point, at which time we will use a level emitter from the RS system to shut that dude off. I will probably end up moving that thing into either this cube or this cube, possibly. Maybe. That's maybe a good spot for it. I don't know. It gets to the point where I get a little bit worried about how much nesting I do with these cubes. I mean, there's quite a few cubes nested inside this cube right now, and it just worries me about performance issues. I don't want to accidentally ruin everything, so how that all stuff goes. So anyhow, guys, I think with all of that, we've spoken, we've talked, we've had a lot of fun. It's been a rough, long week for me at work, and I was rather surprised I was even going to get this episode out. It took 3 tries because of just my brain is not where it should be. So we'll worry about that until another date, on a later date, and it'll, just the same old stuff. Work sucks. I know it's the same thing as always. We all know it. We were using you to do something, and I don't need to worry about you anymore. So anyhow, I said I wanted to say thank you guys for the comments. I want to say thank you for the information that comes the way things go, and I kind of want to explain a little bit on the thing about why I do certain things. It's just because of the way I play mod packs. It's just how I am. If I seem like I'm in a rush, or if it seems like I'm trying to do things in a hurry, it's because it's sit down and try to do a 30-minute YouTube episode on a mod pack like this. You end up spending hours and hours and hours trying to grind and do various little things for 30 minutes of, 20 minutes or 30 minutes of content. Yeah, it's because I'm trying to get to that point where I can actually record and get something done and make it sensical. So it's just the way that I am, and it's just the way that I play packs. I tend to be a little all over the place because I tend to like to be a little, I don't know, that's just the way I think. I can't sit here and stare at the wall and wait on a number to crawl up to where I need to go. I try to find something else to do. So some of the reason why we did this, and some of the reason why I did, especially for what it's worth, I said I wanted the bedrock. I wanted the bedrock. The more I look at it now, I wanted the coal. So that coal is just using that excavator to get coal is totally worth it, because of the fact that I don't have to grind all of the silly, stupid things. And you go, well, but you can get coal from charcoal. Yeah, well, what the funny part is coal is the way I'm getting graphite dust right now. So I don't have to go through that entire process of getting charcoal to get graphite dust, because all I have to do is take a bunch of coal out of that cube, run it through that silly little thing, and stuff it in one of these guys. So that's how we're doing it, and it's pretty much the way that I kind of tend to play packs. I like to find that little corner and run through it like a freaking freight train when I can. So anyhow, enough from me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a long episode. It's been a long week. It's been a long day, and I'm glad you guys are still hanging out. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.